Welcome to our fourth podcast, Technology and Innovation, Chapter 4, Introduction to Robotic Process Automation, RPA, and Artificial Intelligence, with our guest speaker, Jonathan Leon from Accelerate, Senior Solution Process Architect, Healthcare.
Thank you for watching our podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Vici. So, hi everyone, my name is Jonathan Leon. I am a Senior Solution Process Architect with Accelerate Inc. We have offices here in Sunrise, as well as New Jersey, Colombia, and India. So we are a global company, offering a variety of services. The part that I'm mainly part of is more of the robotic process automation within the healthcare division of the organization, specifically focusing on revenue cycle departments of healthcare. But the company has been around for over 10 years in industries like banking, finance, insurance, just a large variety. We do offer services with applications like UiPath, Salesforce, MuleSoft, ServiceNow, SAP, OpenBots. I mean, like there is a large knowledge base that the team has. We also are a managed services organization, so we can come into any organization to kind of help consult, offer services, and as well as be a full solution for them. So a company doesn't fully need to have the architecture. We can provide all that as well. So today, like Dr. Vici was saying, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give a little bit of an introductory about RPA in the healthcare space. I have a presentation that I utilize with some of the leaders as I'm making my way around the organization, just to kind of help them understand what RPA is, what are the benefits and capabilities. It's a great way to kind of establish that connection, get some ideas started, and then from there we'll do like our deeper dives of like how their teams can benefit from the technology, and actually just kind of be much more optimized and streamlined. So if it's okay, I share my
That's very
screen
good.
or.
That's very good, Jonathan.
Oh, okay.
What?
Thank you.
How do you feel after you finish your mentorship program in artificial intelligence going to this company?
So, honestly speaking, I joined that mentorship program because I wanted to kind of make connections with those in the industry. I've been working at the time at Nicholas Children's Health System for over 10 years. Before then, I was at Baptist Health, so I've been in the healthcare IT support, I guess, field or role for close to 20 years now. I was reaching, I feel like a peak in my role, and I was looking for that next move, that next big thing that I wanted to get into, but just didn't really know what that looked like. Um, Knowing of HIMSS and thinking that there are a lot of like-minded individuals as well as those around the industry, I figured it'd be a great way to network and just kind of um, maybe get feelers and see what that next move would be like. So um, having that opportunity to join the mentorship program and partnering up with you, I think you really opened my eyes to I don't know if I want to say the wave, but I guess the big discussion of what AI has become, and just really understanding its benefits to a multitude of industries. Seeing how healthcare was one that um, I guess a lot of enthusiasts or those that are knowledgeable in AI, there was a big focus in healthcare as well, and benefit as well. I figured, well, maybe I can use the two and try to maybe somehow find my new move there. You gave me a great foundation to understanding AI, really what it is and what it can grow to be. I feel that our learning roadmap has helped me have that conversation with this company that I'm at now, to let them know that I am familiar with the technologies that they utilize. I can speak the same language as them as well, but I can also now bring the healthcare knowledge to the table and help this organization move into that space and take take their growth to the next levels.
That's very good, because the idea of the mentorship program is to, teach or transfer knowledge
Yeah.
to mentees so they can understand the real roadmap of artificial intelligence. If you go out there, it's a lot of people that they're experts. And then what I'm trying to do with these podcasts are uh, informative, getting people like yourself to express what kind of work you do, including the artificial intelligence, and trying to tell people that there is knowledge that you can gain if you participate in this type of programs.
100%. Definitely.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think, I mean, what I was gonna just jump into is, like I said, like a PowerPoint that I've put together to introduce the, RPA and automation to the department leaders.
Sure. Yeah,
If
you can share. I mean, already
All right,
you
yeah,
have.
perfect. So, okay, just gotta shift things around. All right, so let's see, share my screen. Do that.
Okay, I can see it. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So sure, and I guess at the time is if there's anything maybe you'd like to discuss a little further as I'm on the topic,
Yeah,
feel free to jump
no,
in. Yeah, yeah.
let's present you. You can present this, and then I'll let you know how much time we have.
All right, perfect. Okay, so again, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity for this. Just going to go over again just an introduction of robotic process automation, or RPA as it's known. Um, my role here is a senior solution process architect, again, just for the healthcare division of Accelerate Incorporated. So for the audience, I don't want to assume their knowledge base of what they do or don't know as far as it comes to RPA automation, this and that. So I kind of like to level set just by getting some definitions out there, so we at least have that foundational knowledge. So I just start off as, what is RPA? Just and then easily say that it's a robotic process automation. It's a software technology that makes it easy to build, deploy, and manage software robots. That's where I kind of step in and say, we normally call them bots for short. We refer to RPA as bots or the automation as bots. So that's how I kind of already established that. And basically, it just emulates human actions within digital systems and software. So in short, it's just a customized software that can mimic processes within applications, solutions, or even whatever's being performed on the computer. With RPA, we can mimic such steps and workflows. But then I go into AI and just give a quick definition of AI, and it's just an ability of a machine to perform the cognitive functions associated with the human mind. So it just kind of think of it as that's a computer's ability to think, to learn, to reason, or interact with an environment, even, do some problem solving. So then I say when we combine the two technologies of RPA for your step by step, and then AI for that critical thinking or learning steps. Together, we have what's known as IPA, or intelligent process automation. And then again, so now with that, it can kind of using that type of technology, you can increase the automation capabilities by not just repeating steps, but now you have that thinking, that critical thinking involvements that can now be part of your automation. So the scope can be much longer, the impact can be much greater, and the solution overall can have a greater benefit for the organization. So from there, we'll go into, so what are the benefits of automation of this technology overall, right? So we have kind of like four main categories. First being your valuable time is saved. Within today's environment, I mean, we all have a lot of work that needs to be handled, some easier than others. But with automation, if we can offload, let's say, some of the easier, like that mundane tasks to a bot, you now allow your team or the staff members the ability to focus on the more critical thinking processes or the more patient-facing kind of processes here. So in a way, you just offload your repetitive rule-based tasks to software robots. And like I said, team members can focus on the higher value activities. So here now you're kind of giving the team back time to focus on those more process intensive or the more thought intensive processes while the bots are kind of handling your repetitiveness tasks. I think at the same time, this now gives the team a bigger throughput of workflow during a given time because you have these software bots working alongside staff members there. So the amount of work that can be handled within a given hour or so or period of time, it has increased. We have improved accuracy and compliance because our RPA operates with precision and consistency because it's software that's been coded and created based on given rules, guidelines that a team or a workflow may have. So anything outside of those rules or bounds, the bot won't be doing. So it's going to really focus on what it's been designed to do. So at that same time, your data accuracy is going to be increased and your risks are minimized because the bot, again, is focusing on what it's been trained to do or what it's been coded or programmed to do. We're enhancing customer experiences because, again, like as mentioned, with the valuable time saved or the increased throughput of workflow within a given time, interactions with customers are actually, or like turnaround times are improved. So be it an upstream team to a downstream team, the time frames are shortened as when work can be transferred from one team to another, or giving feedback to a customer or a client. All that will be shortened because automation is involved. It's performing at a more efficient and a faster rate than a person would. So you're kind of now the team is being more efficient, more effective, and um, you know more customer satisfying there. But the overall one, the one I think is actually important to let the team know, it'll increase employee satisfaction. So right now, we all know that everyone is inundated with work. I mean, we're all suffering from burnout because of just a large amount of work that's on our plate on any given day. By involving a bot in a certain team and the bot is now handling that workload, you're kind of relieving that pressure from everyone there on the team. Um, Letting them focus on those more fulfilling tasks that they have within their day and just again offloading those mundane activities there. But at the same time, this technology doesn't mean that yeah, any team members will be I guess won't be involved or they won't know about it because throughout the process of creating a bot or an automation, someone like myself is going to be involved with the teammates, kind of learning the workflows, but then also walking through the processes and the technology that we'll use. So in a way, they're going to upskill themselves. They're going to learn about the automation. They're going to learn about RPA and AI themselves. They'll be involved along the creation, the testing, the troubleshooting phases, and all that. And then again, if then issues do arise, I'm going to need to work with those experts as well, let them know what we're experiencing so that they can help bring a resolution to it, depending on the cases there. So I think, with these four pillars we have here, these are great benefits as to why automation can come about or what it can provide to a team.
Excellent.
Thank you. This one here, I like to bring this up because there are myths and misconceptions of AI and automation. Um, with, like you said, so many experts out there, there is, some sort of misinformation going out there, or they're not the information isn't really clearly expressed to the audience. So there could be some misinterpretation of what's out there. So with this slide, I just like to go over some, like myths versus reality or myth versus facts that are out there. And then one that I know that I think is really important that I don't skip over is the job elimination number two here. Because I think when anyone first hears automation, they think, oh man, I'm going to be replaced by software or of, AI or whatnot. Um, Before even stepping into the role that I'm in now, that was my number one concern as well. I did not want to be involved in something that's going to remove the job of another person because that's never been what I've done. As a support analyst, I've always been one to really empower my customer or users, assist them, try to, alleviate any issues that they have so that they can take care of patients and their customers. So stepping into a role like this, if I knew that I was going to be part of something that would eliminate a role, it wouldn't sit right with me. So with that, and even with the clients that I'm working with, the real thing is it's just to kind of help alleviate the pressure that's out there right now. So like we have here, the reality is that IPA frees up employees to focus on the more meaning and valuable tasks and provides an opportunity to upskill. Um, I won't be, let's say, I won't say that it's not a possibility. Obviously, it could happen, but really, the clients I've worked with and the direction that my company goes with, we just want to help companies again just be more efficient with what it is with the work that they have.
I always,
As far as
I'm sorry
yeah,
to interrupt.
no, no.
I always say that it's not a job elimination. What it is people have to update their skills.
Constantly, yes. Yeah,
Because I always say that AI is a tool.
exactly.
It's not a replacement of any human being. I mean, it's a tool that is going to help you with whatever you're doing right now. And
Correct. Hmm.
and then you take that and you start with the AI, but you are the one who have to review that for any hallucination or any
Correct.
dismiss information that you can get, right?
Exactly. 100%.
And sincerely, one of the concerns that I have, and I'm going to ask you before you continue,
Sure.
is risk and security, right? That you already see that you have it right there. But
Correct.
when I
Yep.
said risk and security is for the human being that, they're using the AI, but
Hmm.
if they don't know how to use it, it could be a
True.
risk.
Definitely, definitely. And I think in every industry, there is a certain amount of information that is considered as sensitive. And if, let's say, using AI or maybe some kind of generative AI, teams need to start learning or understanding that the information that they're providing with whatever the application is might be going out to the internet, or it could be shared in a fashion that they're not aware of.
Yeah.
Um, with this, when we do involve generative AI, we have the ability of keeping it, kind of localized or in-house, so that we are kind of reducing the risk of information being shared on the internet that isn't meant to be. But for a user or anyone, really, yes, that is something that needs to be factored in or actually
And,
understood,
yeah,
that
and
what is
as
shared
as the
is good.
company needs to get involved with you guys,
Correct.
not to tell you as a vendor, okay, go ahead and do it, because
Right.
you need to have policy and procedures.
Hmm.
You need to have guidelines, right?
Yep.
And how to use it, how to keep it, and then you're going to be there to continue with the transfer of knowledge, right? I mean, the knowledge transfer.
Definitely. And that's funny enough that you're saying that, but that is something that the client that I'm working with now is working on creating like a governance around this program as we're growing, and as someone like myself is making the way around the different teams and there are more automations being implemented within the organization. It's something that, yes, that their understanding needs to have its proper governance and oversights, just to make sure that there are no risks that could impact any sensitive
Yeah,
information.
one impact, it could be on the developers, right? That they
Hmm.
could say, for example, I want to use Copilot or ChatGPT to create a
Hmm.
code. No, no can do. I mean, you can create a code,
Exactly.
but it's going to be the basic flow that you can follow, and but you have to do, you have to be prepared to finish the job, right?
Hmm.
And
Very true.
review it and review it.
Very true. Very true. Um, Yeah, so again, just kind of like we're seeing here with the myths versus realities. I mean, there are security concerns, some think that's hype technology, which, funny enough, it didn't even click for me until, I'd say, maybe about a month or so ago. But like RPA, or process automation, it's not a new technology, and it clicked again for me that I realized I was using a RPA almost back when I started my career in healthcare close to 20 years ago. I was utilizing, so back then the healthcare systems, they weren't, GUI type EMRs like they are today, or electronic health records. They were like terminal style systems. So just kind of like how the banking is, there's that black and white screen there. At the time when I first started my career, I was developing, I think it was like in C sharp or C++, something like that, automation that would just replicate the different screen flips. It would use like an Excel spreadsheet to kind of populate the fields or data and all that. And yeah, I helped use it to either make maybe large amounts of corrections if there was, something that was incorrectly found on X amount of patient accounts, and then they need to like reverse that. I created a script that would kind of go into each account, go through, do it through the system, and just kind of make the corrections. Or even for testing needs, if we wanted, 20 patients to test a certain scenario, I developed something back then that would do that. And it wasn't until recently that, that is actually RPA. And this was, again, close to 20 years ago. So now it's just, I'd say, going to that next level because we have AI that RPA can benefit from. So the technology itself can just be much stronger, more, more capable.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to review this because before we started this presentation, I was reviewing more in literature review about robotics and the whole thing, right? Now that
Mhm.
I'm in very deep in artificial intelligence, and people say that, in 1950s, the machine learning it came big time, right?
Mhm.
But I started review it and review it, and I found out that in 1937 and 1938,
Okay.
uh, Dr. Harold Gorsuch, something like that,
Okay.
created an robot, uh, 7 foot, right? The 7 feet tall,
Okay.
called Electro. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So we're talking what, almost 100 years ago?
Right.
So
Yeah.
nothing is new, my friend.
Yeah, and I think even when we were going through the mentorship program, when with some of the articles you gave me, I think like even the concept or the thought of AI was around, I think back then too, no, like the 1920s or so, 1930s. I mean,
Exactly.
like we didn't even have computers around back then, but they were forward thinkers thinking that machines could assist humans and like like the concept of AI was basically birthed back then
Yeah,
and
yeah.
look at us now, like
And these
100
people
years later.
were from the Westinghouse Electric Corporation, in
Yeah.
Ohio. So I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So won't go through all these here, but really, I mean, this type of technology, again, like number seven, it's not only for large organizations. I mean, anyone with a repetitive process, something that's, rule driven or there are some kind of guidelines or compliances to follow can benefit from RPA. It can only just kind of, I think, make the process more streamlined, more efficient, and, I guess just like enhanced overall. And then from a security standpoint, just to kind of highlight there, I mean, we can put things like so the bots themselves, they'll be given their own access to the system, so they can be monitored, they can be audited. All those loggings can be provided for whatever a bot touches or performs. Um, with access control in an organization, there's a role-based security that can be provided. So the bot itself is only given the amount of access that is needed to perform the process or tasks. So with that, it's reduced the amount of I guess access or where the bot would navigate to is limited. Compliance, I mean, definitely within healthcare, there are so many standards and regulations that need to be followed, but this technology is HIPAA certified. Has its own ISO certifications as well, um, and fully vetted. And then from testing, so we mainly use UiPath as our development software. We
Okay.
are a platinum partner, preferred partner with UiPath. So all the code that is created within UiPath is tested and verified by Veracode for security. There's encryption as well there. Authentication is in place. I mean, so within what we're utilizing, risks and all that, and security is a high consideration, high factor. It's fairly highly understood because, again, with the type of information that's being processed, that level of sensitivity needs to be there.
Excellent.
So then now the fun part. I guess every time I get to this screen, this is where I start hearing like, oh, this and that, like the excitement starts to build up here. So I put this slide together just to kind of let them know like the capabilities of this technology of the RPA, the AI technology. So I've given the bots here a little visualization of just them, and then just saying they can be deployed in so many regions, right? So I have here like the EMR. So regardless of whatever EMR you have, be it one of the big ones or even something a little bit mid-size or whatnot, the bot can navigate the EMR. It can go ahead and access the work list, go to patient accounts, just it can act as a user, navigate as a user, and interact with the software itself. So if we need to transfer data from here to there, look at some kind of documentations and all that, the bot can do it. It can actually access APIs. So I think here's the great part, or here's how this technology can be more efficient. Although, yes, it can handle front-facing or like user-facing interactions with the GUI. But since it's software technology, it can go to the back end. So now it can tap into the API or all the different messages or the connections happening between softwares. It can tap into the databases that are behind there. So the data can be obtained directly from the source via queries or whatever it is. So now just because the information might not be at the screen itself, the bot has the ability to go behind the scenes and capture information there as well. So I think that's a huge benefit to it. And that's where you have some of the efficiencies or effectivenesses of it. Network storages or any kind of cloud storages, the bot can access files or data within there, or any just other applications that are locally installed or even within some kind of a cloud environment. The bot has access to it. I have it here that we can access, your web browser. So Chrome, Edge, whatever your web browser of choice is, the bot can go ahead and interact with it and navigate through it as well. We have documentation capabilities. So any electronic documents or PDFs or what be them, JPEGs, TIFFs, whatever that is, the technology can access the file. And now here's where your AI comes in. But now we can learn to interpret the data within it, be it structured data, which is something like a form where you have your, designated fields and all that, or unstructured data where it's a comment written by, let's say, a physician or anyone just kind of putting in free-handed text. We can include AI options there to now read that documentation, read that information there, and actually categorize it to be able to use as part of the workflow. I have an
Definitely.
example of that I can actually talk
Yeah,
more about later.
definitely AI is a plus here.
Oh, definitely, definitely, yeah.
Or, to go back and research all the data that you guys can handle. So
Mhm. And then lastly, just kind of putting any kind of cloud solution, so like your Google Workspace or your Microsoft Office 365 and all that. It has the ability to just go into those suite of applications. It can monitor an inbox. So let's say there's a shared inbox within a certain department um, that someone's always monitoring for it. You can have a bot monitor the inbox, but then AI can kick in to now categorize the emails or keep an eye out for a file with a certain attachment. It
yes.
can help prioritize emails or even now, if you include like NLP or natural language processing, it can actually read the email, understand the tone to see if there's a certain level of priority that needs to be given, to
Good.
then almost like forward that on to a management level personnel to handle immediately. Or it can read the email and draft a response that someone can actually just approve and send. Or depending on the confidence, we can have the bot just send off an email based off of send a response based off the email received. So um, yeah, AI is taking, I would think, almost any industry to a new level or any technology to a new level. And with just these capabilities of, interacting with your PDFs or any kind of cloud solutions,
Yeah, it's an
that
agent prepared to work.
exactly, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so just saying, yeah, it can go, I know any kind of shared files on a OneDrive or a Google Drive, the bot can go in and access, read, and interpret or utilize as part of the workflow, manage inboxes and all that, definitely can handle. So then now I just wanted to get into like some high level examples of automations I've worked with some clients within the revenue cycle space, just to kind of give a little bit of like a true business case of how this technology is impacting and assisting workflows within these areas. So within the client, within the clinical documentation improvement team, we have a bot assisting with with their mortality index review. So to give a high level of what this process is, there's patient data within the EMR that is utilized, but also compared with a spreadsheet from a vendor that has, let's say, profiles of patients and different symptoms of what they could present with. Now, the way the workflow is today, or when done manually, a person would open up a patient's account, review all their diagnosis and procedure codes, their DRG codes. So kind of review a lot of the codes that review that discuss their symptoms and procedures that were performed on them.
Mhm.
They would go to the spreadsheet to now find, let's say, like a profile that matches what the patient has. And then once that profile is identified, they're like, symptoms or say variables that now they compare one to one. So let's say the profile says that the patient should present with A, B, and C. They'll go look at the patient account. Do they have A, B, and C? Yes or no? If it's yes, they'll mark it off. And as they start marking off these matches, the spreadsheet will kind of give like a statistical value as to how at risk this patient is for actually declining during their stay. So it's a very manual process. It's very important, but it's time consuming because they need to refer to the information in the EMR, refer to the spreadsheet, and just kind of go one to one to see where there are matches or not. And then once they get the results, that's when they know, okay, this patient is at risk and we need to identify or notify clinical teams immediately, or this patient's okay and everything's fine with them, so we don't need to, pay them any extra attention because they're fine according to the profile. So what is
So
happening now?
is that with a lot of healthcare facilities or only the ones that you're working on it?
I'll truly, I'm fairly newer to the organization, so this is one that I'm working on with this one client there.
Okay.
This type of review, since that spreadsheet that they have was purchased from a third-party vendor, I'm sure that this is a need throughout other healthcare organizations, which would be something I'd love to explore to see if it's something that
I
we can
wanted to say
almost,
that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, if it's something we can use elsewhere, I mean, we would have almost a solution ready to go.
Yeah.
So with this process, again, we have a bot now that's going to be performing that evaluation. It's going to go into the accounts from a specific work queue, so it knows which accounts to review. It's going to go ahead and access the spreadsheet, and then it'll be able to do that comparison in, I would say, almost like, I mean, I think when we timed it, just the examples that we ran with the bot, it took, I think, the process or the bot itself, maybe about a minute and a half to complete. Whereas when a person was doing it, it was a little over 5 minutes just to handle one account. So over there, I mean, you're seeing a large amount of time being saved. But now that a person doesn't need to actually do that evaluation, when they open the accounts worked, they'll already see the results in the EMR because the bot is going to place the results back in there. And
Yeah.
immediately they can say, okay, we need to focus on these patients right now, or we can improve the process to now kind of put in an automated alert once a value of a certain threshold is met, we can have that account immediately flagged to clinical teams. So there's even
Of course.
an opportunity to improve on the process. So
Yeah,
yeah, we can.
you know the word you were saying that maybe it could go up to 5 minutes if with a human touch, right? But
Correct.
what happened if that's the logical process, but what happened if the person get interrupt?
Right,
So
exactly,
or
because
not, right?
true.
And if no, now that you have this automation in place,
Mhm.
doesn't take anything, right? I mean, it takes maybe
Right. There's
one
like
time.
they say, there's no bathroom breaks, there's no interrupted phone calls happening there.
Exactly.
So the bot just focuses on what it needs to do, and tackles it. So as we're seeing here with this one automation, we've estimated that there's gonna be like over 9,700 hours saved within a year. So that's the time that's given back to that department. That's the extra time now that those team members have to focus on additional work or the more complex workload because they can be worry-free knowing that the bot is handling um, that evaluation.
Very good.
But at the same time, just to kind of give a little more insight as to what goes on. Just because the bot's running doesn't mean the department themselves is completely clueless as to what's happening.
Okay.
We keep transparent with what's going on. So we send out email communications when the bot is going to start the process. When the bot concludes, we send um, like a log of what accounts the bot touched, what were the results. So like we give full transparency to the team so they know exactly what happened, who was interacted with, if there were any errors. So let's say for some reason along the process there was a scenario that we didn't factor in that came up.
Yeah.
That one account might say, flag for manual review, or maybe there was an error encountered somewhere. So they'll be able to see an audit trail of what took place so that if there is any follow-up action, they can go ahead and handle that. Or if something in what any errors were encountered, that's going to most likely be caught by our support team so that we can go ahead and engage them and tell them, hey, we need to work on this one issue that was encountered.
Yes.
So
And the good thing
although
is,
the bot's running, there's still transparency.
Exactly. But the good thing is you can create another routine that artificial
Mhm.
intelligence is going to help with
Exactly.
logs, right? The
Yep.
error logs. And
Hmm.
that, anytime you get an error or whatever, you create a report and say, the last 10 errors, here is. If it is critical, you raise
Right.
it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So to another one, we have like from the admitting team, I have a bot that is working on obtaining pre-authorizations for service. So patients that are coming into the emergency department and for some reason or another, they need to be admitted and become an inpatient for a longer time of stay. Those patients would have to have a pre-authorization obtained by their insurance carrier. So there's a team here that needs to constantly make sure that the information collected by the insurance, one, is correct, and then two, they'd have to go out to like a web portal or some website to manually obtain this pre-authorization to store like that code in the EMR. It is quite time consuming, and there are some cases where there's some back end communications that automatically do this, but for a large amount of like health plans, that's not possible. So what we've been able to do is we now have a bot knowing that when a patient is admitted, it can go ahead and read their insurance information that's been collected. It'll know what web portal to interact with, and from there, it will fill out all the required fields, all of the necessary information that's needed to actually submit that pre-authorization request. Luckily, all the information lives within the EMR, so it can refer to the information that's needed, be it any kind of physician names, any kind of ID numbers for the physician, for the healthcare organization, um, any kind of diagnosis codes, the patient demographic information, all that it can grab from the EMR, fill out the web portal, and submit that response. If one is obtained immediately, I've been able to help identify where that information resides in so that they can copy that from the portal, paste it in the EMR, and then complete any necessary fields that actually conclude the process. So that alone is actually continuing the workflow so that the further downstream teams can be engaged and do their part of the workflow, while the emitting team is working on other longer cases, which are sometimes not a web portal isn't available. So the staff need to pick up the phone and actually call the health plan themselves. Those phone calls are very time consuming, can go as long as an hour or 45 minutes. So if someone's on the phone for that long period of time, sure, they can kind of multitask and do something, kind of interact with the web portal. But this allows them to either maybe respond to an email or handle something else while the bot is just doing this interaction for them behind the scenes. Or maybe they can kind of work alongside again, like I was saying earlier. So now you have more throughput of information or data being worked in a given time. So the bot here, as you can see, is just under 5,000 human hours saved a year just by doing that. I won't
Excellent.
go into too much detail for the others, but for the one that's in finance there, the bot is actually gathering information to submit for quarterly audits that need to take place. It is for Medicare or sorry, Medicaid patients. The organization needs to kind of collect a certain amount of information, kind of create a packet on all their Medicaid patients, and then submit it to a the regulatory organization called per So the bot just knows on that given time frame, the quarterly time, it'll go ahead and grab all the information from the EMR, create that packet that's needed, and then make sure it meets all the guidelines that's required, and then go ahead and submit it out to that portal.
Excellent.
And then the my big whale here, the Moby Dick, is professional building coding. So
Yeah.
coding is a
I,
very large and
I can
complex.
I can see that with the
Yeah.
saving hours a year, right?
Yes, this is a very, very complex process. I mean, those that perform the process today actually have to be certified and specialized in coding. Um, the intent here is not to replace coders, but it's actually to help alleviate with the coding needs of the organization. The needs are so high that the organization can't even find local talent to actually assist with the workflow that they're outsourcing it to many different organizations or, third-party vendors to just help with the volume that's there. It's
Yeah.
costing them a ton in expenses to accomplish it, but it's a necessary evil. So since they're so what do I want to say, so excited about, I guess, or invested in this technology, they were saying, what can we do for coding? And, how can we kind of save some money on that one there? In going through it, we decided to just piecemeal this because coding itself has so many different avenues that it can take, that we're just going to go ahead and just start, doing it step by step. So with this, we're working specific edits or errors that are presented during the coding process. With this, we're definitely going to involve AI. So since there are so many guidelines, there is so much, there's so many standards out there. There's so much documentation on coding. We can just feed a model all this information, get it trained, get it to be able to understand the complexities of coding. So now we can just kind of throw some of these coding errors or coding needs at a model that was created to just see that how accurate it is. We aim to achieve a 90 to 95% accuracy with any models that are custom created. We are nearing that volume. So as we, just give it more data, it's just becoming more and more accurate. And with this, we are starting to show benefits to the team. We are getting these edits resolved and handled. And now, like, the teams themselves, they have that much less pressure on themselves to get so much work done in a time. And here I would say, sure, there could be a potential for the organization to scale down on the dependency of third-party vendors, but their internal staff would just, have the relief that, it's, yeah, the internal staff will be relieved that there are bots assisting them and it's not, solely just on them to be able to handle.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Excellent.
Thank you. So then the next slide, I just want to go into like a bit of a life cycle of what it looks like when we go through like an automation project. Um, just I do this to just kind of visualize what it takes to get a bot or an automation from idea to actual beneficial solution. So as always, as I give this presentation, like I said earlier, by the time we're here, they've already have a couple ideas in mind. So what I do from here is just I'll start collecting those ideas so that we can get another call going to do like a bit of a high level overview. I want to know how much time it takes, what's the volume of transactions, the amount of employees that are there, because I need to create like a business case for my management team so that we can understand what the ROI or the return in time saved for the department would be, but as well as what's the work effort going to be and technology needed from my team to create this bot and make it happen.
Very good.
As long as we have like a good balance of that, then we can go ahead and move into now like the analysis and design phase, where this is where I would do like that deeper dive of the workflow. I tell them to almost talk to me as if they're training me on the process. I want to know the ins and outs. I want to know the mindsets. I want to know the guidelines, the rules. I want to know this process so that what I create is going to be a good representation of the workflow itself, because this documentation is going to be handed down to developers for the next phases. So from here, here's where I work closely with the department leaders or maybe some subject matter experts or those that are performing the duties day to day. And I do several meetings just to make sure I understand the as is workflow so that I can collect it. Once all that's been collected properly and it's been evaluated and reviewed by those I've worked with and they approve it, we move the project on to a development phase. So now here's where the developer comes into play. They'll review all that documentation and they'll come up with their own, like their technical design of what the bot would look like. Just because I said A, B, and C is the workflow, they can now say, well, we can go A straight to C. We can skip B because the bot now can, take a different avenue or take a different track, go behind the scenes and get information there. So this is now where that, what we call the solution design is created. And then as well, once that's approved and vetted by the department, it's actually coded, it's developed, it's starting to come to life now. After the development phase happens, then we move into a testing phase. So we'll first do an internal testing on our side first, just make sure it's working as expected. We'll go through some scenarios that I've been made aware of or that I understand from all the information collected. I'll do some review with the developer, just make sure we have something that we can present to the team for testing as well. Well, when we get there, we do an in-depth testing with the team as well. So we'll show them the bot. We'll go through some samples with them. We'll show them all the test cases that we've gone through and our results there. We want to make sure that we test this to the best of our knowledge, to the best of the team's knowledge, from what they understand the process to be, or they know what the day-to-day is like. Because any tweaking that needs to be done, we want to capture that here before we move on to the last phase, which is live. Once this is live, I tell them, although this is the end of the development cycle, it's actually the beginning of the bot starting to reap benefits or benefit them, the team overall. So it's not an ending. It's more of an ending for us on the development side, but it's the beginning for them to actually see this bot come to life and actually have its effects
Yeah,
there.
the deployment and the whole
The
thing.
deployment, exactly. Yeah. So even with that, we still we kind of once we go live, we like to give what we call like a hypercare, which that means like for a 2 week period of time, our support teams are going to just really heavily monitor this bot, just monitor when it starts and stops, make sure that there are no kind of issues that come about, maybe those one-off scenarios didn't present themselves. We just want to make sure that although it's running in prod, that it really is working as intended. So we give it that 2 week very high overview or close overview. Once it's behaving fine, it's not doing anything that's unintended. We'll move it now to a regular support phase where if something does come about, it goes through like the normal ticketing process and all that, and just like any other IT issue there.
And the client can sign any maintenance extra services, right? Like,
Right. Yeah. So with this one here, we do have our own support. Like I said, we do offer those managed services. So we will do that high level overview. But with this client, they want to own the bot in the end.
sure,
So
sure,
we
sure, sure.
everything that we have, all our documentation, everything that we've collected, we create like a transition packet so that all that information now is fully theirs. They understand the details. They'll even speak with the developers to understand those ins and outs, because now they're going to be responsible for supporting it. However, if something does come about, we are always here, because we work that closely with them. So it's not like they're completely on their own.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
still there to provide the support and make any adjustments as needed.
sure.
And then lastly, I guess this one's just for us here, but just like my contact info, if I guess there are any other questions or anyone wants to talk about this a little more or maybe has an interest, you can find me on LinkedIn. I do have my middle initial there, so it's Jonathan C. Leon, and you'll find me there. I think my profile picture is the same one you're seeing, so as long as you see that photo, that's me. My work email is jonathan.leon@accelerate.com. Your spell checker is going to really appreciate this, but we have an I, as you see here in Accelerate. It's because we're accelerating automation and AI, so we got the AI there for you. So that's my email address. And our website, the company website is accelerate.com, as you see there, ACCELIRATE. Um, I know we offer a lot more services than what I mentioned. I still don't even know like the full scope of it myself, so I do apologize if I skipped anything. But if you're curious to see the services, the industries that we support, feel free to take a look or reach out to me.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for your presentation. The
Thank
idea
you.
is to keep informing people about how AI can help a lot of processes. And we can see that your company and yourself are growing and keeping clients and customers happy. So I appreciate your time.
Thank
Uh,
you. Appreciate you
I
having
hope
me.
we can continue with other podcasts if we need to. And now I guess you're gonna be a mentor for the next year.
I mean, I'm always happy to share my knowledge. I I think that's why I got to the point that I got to joining the mentorship program, because I
Well,
realized
it's like
I
a
was helping a lot and I wanted to
exactly.
actually kind of reach out and get help myself. So
Yeah,
someone like you really did help me, learn and grow, and I really do attribute all
yeah.
that we've done to for me being in this role that I am now. So I do thank you for that.
And at the end, you feel good that you're giving back to the community,
Definitely,
and
yes.
you can see people growing. I already finished two mentees with Florida Atlantic University.
Nice.
They did very well. They did the same thing, the roadmap for artificial intelligence. They
Cool.
didn't know much about it. We did the same thing, review article presentations, and they were happy. So I'm happy too.
Well,
So
and I know we finished that, but definitely, I'm glad that I still have you around. I can pick your brain and, see
exactly
what
right.
more knowledge you have to share, because
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot out there.
So thank you very much, Jonathan. Have a great night, and
You as well.
we can talk later if we need to.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you for watching our podcast.
Bye.
Bye.